One more question. Can I record to audio? Do I have to?
So we have 6 people online. Brother Farooq Jivani. I have a sister Waliullah, Nazlin Jivani, Atar Ahmad, Asma Amir, Anju Mujib, and Afsari are the people online, and the rest are on site. You can start, please.
नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम रब्बिश शरह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. So before we actually went on Zoom, I was talking about my little background. That is that, and I will just speed it up in few words now. I'm a medical doctor by profession, working in Pakistan for the last 30 years. And then I was looking for, when I started about 25 years back, I started my journey with Quran and the purpose of life. That was the time when I actually were looking for something for my kids. And that got me into developing a program for children, which is called Hamare Bacche, which is a formal department of Al Huda now, where we are teaching children and we are bringing up programs, very interactive programs for children from the age of 1 year till 19 years. So yes, people are amazed. How do you manage a 1-year-old child with this program? So we involve mothers. We have mothers, grandmothers, caretakers, and they come in with the kids, and we introduce them to a lot of activities which are appropriate for their age. So from the very beginning, we guide children about different activities. आपको उर्दू चाहिए है या इंग्लिश ही ठीक है सबके लिए? You're fine with English? ठीक है. Okay, so I'm comfortable with both, लेकिन मुझे था कि जो audience के लिए is more conducive. So in this program, what we do is we talk to children about different activities, and we bring the concepts of Islam and how when they go back in their homes, they're able to practice it. And what are the challenges that they come across, then we address those challenges. So at the very same time, we have a parenting forum where the mothers would also be taught the same subject. Like, let's say today we are talking about, we can pick up any topic. Let's say we're talking about charity, sadaqah. So while we're teaching children about sadaqah, we will also be talking to mothers about sadaqah. So like you have a Sunday school over here, when the kids and the parents, they will pass out, they will go home. They are all at the same wavelength. You know, the mothers, and ironically, fathers are busy, but usually mothers, kids, everyone, they understand what we have been talking about. And we give loads of ideas to mothers how they can guide their kids, motivate their kids, starting from, again, 1 year till 19 years, involving them in different activities. Then I also go to different schools, institutions, and I am interacting with youth for the past 15 years. I'm going to different colleges and universities too. So basically, when we are talking about kids, one thing that I would like to say is that parenting is a global challenge. It's like something we all have to deal with. Yes, there could be little differences among the challenges and issues here and there, but parenting is still a challenge. And with growing times, the challenge is going to be bigger. Why? Because there is a narration of the Prophet ﷺ. Once he was standing on the rooftop and he was talking to some of his companions, and he said, "Do you see what I see?" And they asked, "Ya Rasulullah ﷺ, you can explain it to us." And he said, "I see fitnas, tribulations falling down like raindrops. When the raindrops fall, it's like something, at least in Pakistan, we are like, let's think of samosas and pakoras and pakwans." Something like that. Yeah? But we don't see those fitnas as fitna. You know, that's why, I mean, like, I relate it to that way. Rain is something we see as a blessing. And raindrop, we love, we enjoy the rainy weather. But the tribulations are going to come like that. Initially, they will look very comfortable. We will be very well adjusted with them. And suddenly we'll realize there's something wrong. And then suddenly we'll see our family caught up in the middle of problems. And then we are like, what do I do with it? So there is a warning. That means as parents, we need to understand the challenges in today's time. आज के दौर के challenges को आपको समझना पड़ेगा. Unless you understand what's happening in the world today, you equip yourself like you should be way ahead of your kids. Otherwise, you will be very badly caught up in these challenges. You will not understand where your kids are coming from, what they're talking about. Like, sometimes I create different, I sign in for different apps, and my kids, they'll hold my phone and they're like, oh, mom, you are on this app and you're doing this. And I'm like, I have to know all these things because I'm dealing with youth. And that is why it is important that जो हमारे global challenges हैं, we equip ourselves. We get to know what is happening in the world. Second important thing is, what should be our parenting focus? Like when I talk to different parents, when they are worried and they consult me and they talk to me and they want to know what is it that we can do for our kids, हम क्या करें अपनी अगली नस्ल के लिए, अपनी generations के लिए. And they're vague. I have seen parents who are vague. They're like, yeah, I want my kids to do something good, but what good? From what standard? What identity you try to establish? They don't know. उनको समझ ही नहीं आती है. Okay? They are vague about it. Or I have come across parents who relate success to just the worldly success. If you have money, if you have a career, if you are well settled, that's it. Period. We are done. We are doing good. Where's the spiritual element? What are you going to do the day you die? We all have to die. So when we die, what is the baggage that I'm carrying for myself? Okay. So we don't understand that for our kids sometimes. We compromise on the main structure of Islam by saying, Mera dil saaf hai. I'm a good person at heart. Yes, that is appropriate. But then the structure has to be there. Like when we send them, like we go to any office, we go to any institution, don't we follow the structure there? If I walk in some place and I say, Mera dil saaf hai, no COVID thing will do anything, I'm clean and everything, or koi mujhe problem nahi hai, and I'm not wearing my mask. So it won't work. When certain SOPs are in place, they need to be followed.
There's an issue with the audio.
Do not disturb someplace. I don't know where you would find it in your phone. Airplane पे नहीं होगा. Airplane पे do not disturb पे जाना होगा. Okay.
Okay, we're back on. Yeah.
So आपको एक standard set करना होगा. You need to have that right standard for yourself. Like in Surah Al-Imran, I think it's verse number 185, but it's in Surah Al-Imran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, someone who is able to save themselves from the hellfire and enter into Jannah, faqad faz. They are the one who are successful beings. So if you ask me, this is my standard in life. I could be eating, meeting people, doing shopping, working, cooking, whatever chores. But I have to keep asking myself, is this saving me from hellfire? And is this taking me closer to Jannah? If it is doing so, I'm successful. I have done it. And this is the same standard I give to my kids. When my kids come up to me and ask me about a career choice, about making any plans, I tell them, listen, if this saves you from hellfire and brings you closer to Jannah, do it. Because in worldly success, I mean, like you could be having highs and lows. We'll come across people who will not have worldly success, but they're going to be very successful in the hereafter. Okay. So this is like something that we need to understand. What is it that I want for my kid? I mean, each one of us as a parent, हमें as parents, ये बहुत clarity होनी चाहिए. Where do I see my kids? Because many times I've seen the confusion is the parents want the worldly success, 100%. And then they don't want to make a compromise on the hereafter. Again, there is a narration of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, this life is like a jail for the believer. What does that mean? What do you do in jail? Do you have all the liberties to enjoy life? Do you have restrictions? Can you like decide things for yourself, or are you dictated in certain way? I mean, you cannot, you have a certain boundary, and beyond that, you have no say. So if you feel that you're doing everything right and everything is pleasant in your life and no challenges are coming up, there is something wrong. You're trying to be sailing in both boats. Ye ho nahi sakta. Okay. I had been a very worldly person many years back. And when I came towards Islam, it's beautiful the way I started practicing, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying my profession. I'm on media as well. I'm going and talking to different people. I'm visiting places, but there are compromises. Ye nahi ho sakta कि I'm getting the same things, doing the same things, living the same way as I used to. ठीक है, तो ये याद रखना है. ये एक parenting focus आपका होना चाहिए. You could be setting any focus for yourself. You can pick any verse from Quran and say, this is my focus for my kids, because it is ultimately going to lead you to same. This is my focus for my family. This is focus for my kids. This is focus for my marriage. But this is coming from Quran and Hadith. I would also like to talk about the parenting mistakes. There are two mistakes that people do a lot, parents do a lot, because parents have a bonus love for their kids, extreme love for their kids. And it is so interesting when you read verses in Quran, जब आप पढ़ते हैं कुरान में, तो parents को कहा गया है that your औलाद is fitna. They are test for you. Because there is test of everything, your emotions, your love, your separation or being with them, and whatever you're trying to teach them, everything is about a test. But surprisingly, what have the kids been told? Wabil walidaini ihsana. Do ihsan with your parents. They have not been told that the parents are test for you. Why? Because it is very difficult for kids to go against that gravity, give that same kind of love and attention to the parents. They have their own ambition, there are their own things that they want to do. बच्चों के लिए मुश्किल है. बच्चे करते हैं, but it is difficult for them. It's easy for us as parents. I would always love, my son said to me, don't get me anything from there. Okay, just get one or two things that my wife needs. But I still bought him 5 things. And I'm planning to buy another 3, 4 things for him. Despite the fact he kept sending me 2, 3 texts, don't get me anything, I don't need anything. That's my parental love. That's how things are. ऐसे ही है ना कि we go out of way for our kids. तो parents 2 mistakes करते हैं. ठीक? If I have a marker, so I could write it down. Wait, I'll bring it. उससे आपको जरा समझ अच्छा आ जाएगा. Now these 2 mistakes are, one is provoking and other is enabling. What is provoking? We somehow pick up the wrong battles with our kids. Why are you wearing this? Why are you doing this? When we actually want them to pray, we want them to say their namaz. Okay, so this is provoking and this is enabling. I'm sorry. So provoking के गलत चीजों पे poke करते हैं. The kid gets up in the morning, drink water, do this. Why are you not doing this? Why have you done this? God, why are you sitting in the car? Why are you not sitting in the car? Why are you in your pajamas? Why are you not in the right dress? And the kids are like, I don't want to be with this parent. And sometimes, especially when they're in their teenage and they are like your height, they will then confront you. Back off. बदतमीज हो गया तुम? तुम्हें बात नहीं करनी आती? You don't have manners? तो पता नहीं है हम अपने बुजुर्गों का कितना ख्याल रखते थे. We used to be like, taking care. We were like so respectful towards our elders. What are you? This is provoking. Like you're giving them ample opportunities on a very nice platter to misbehave with you, to give you disrespect. And then when I talk to parents, I'm like, why are you doing this? And mother especially would tell me, I feel helpless. I'm not doing it because I'm enemy towards them. I hate them. I love them so much. I'm so desperate for them to pray, to dress up in a certain way, to read Quran, to practice Islam. And when they don't do it, I don't know what to do. I get so frustrated. I just end up doing it. Okay. Second behavior is enabling. Enabling behavior is, now we go to the other spectrum, where we let them get away with whatever they want to. We facilitate them immensely in every direction. And that spoils them. They know that my mom is going to be there. Like they'll keep giving us money, facilities, especially the subcontinent culture. We have extensive ownership of our kids till we are maybe great grandparents. We want to keep facilitating them. Har cheez tumhari hi hai. You don't have to worry about anything. Beta, ye ghar bhi tumhara hai. Humne 3 ghar isliye banaye hain. Your dad is working from 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. because, they are investing for your future. And when the kids, what are they doing? They're just playing online game. Yeah, mom, yeah, dad, pani bhi pakda de, khana bhi pakda de. The mom is working, who should be resting. And the kids, they seem to be having a very good time, merry time. This is enabling. Like we put up their good picture in front of all the people. I'm not saying that we should be going around and talking against our kid. That will be provoking. But like we are giving them protection, a camouflage in those areas where they shouldn't be getting it. Like when my kids were going to school, I told them, if I get a call from your institution about low grades or sometimes difficulty in studies, that's okay. I will understand that. But if I get a call from your institution about a misconduct, I won't go. I'll tell them to do whatever they want to with you. I won't come and take your side. I won't write an application for you. Okay? I won't give you a sick leave or something. I'll say, do whatever you want to, whatever the penalty, give him or her. So my kids were so scared of this thing that they knew that they will never get a backing from me for this matter, no matter what they do. So they were very, very particular about it. तो स्कूल से कभी ये कंप्लेन नहीं आई थी कि जी आपके बच्चे ने बदतमीजी की है, मिसबिहेव किया, डांट पड़ी है तो खड़ा हो जाएगा, सॉरी बोल देगा. But they will never do this because they know I will not enable them. And when we provoke and enable, what happens? It's not simple challenge. The challenges are increasing, like mental health challenges. Kids are having anxiety and depression. It's not just only because of the provoking and enabling, but it's amplified because of that. बढ़ जाती है चीज जब आपके बच्चे को ऑलरेडी चैलेंज है, पेरेंटिंग चैलेंज है, बच्चे को चैलेंज है, पेरेंट्स एनेबल कर रहे हैं, प्रोवोक कर रहे हैं. They're not understanding the issues that the kids are facing. So kids have a lot of mental health challenges these days, and it's global. It's global. It's everywhere. And with COVID, it has increased. Every other day, I come across a parent who asks me about anxiety or a panic attack of a child, because I'm also working with some mental health experts in Islamabad. And for the last 5 to 7 years, I'm also working with addictions in Pakistan on a volunteer basis. So you need to remember, jo anxiety hai, that is about future. And depression is about past. So if there's something which happened to them, which is in the past, it could be like any form of abuse or anything challenging that they saw or anything that they have not been able to resolve, they will have depression. And depression is something which can lead to suicidal ideation or actual suicidal attempts, and self-harm is so common now. I was surprised when 2 or 3 years back, I found out, I don't know the name of the season, one of my students shared with me that, Dr. Kanwal, you must watch those seasons. And she said, it's so cool. You know what? There's this girl, some of your kids must be knowing about it. I don't remember the name. And she made, like the whole season, and then the season 2 just came out, and your kids must be definitely knowing about it, that this girl is continuously making attempts to kill herself. And then, like, what is successful and what is not. And she's floating ideas on killing herself, suicide. And it's a hit show among youth all over world. Can you imagine, Jeff? Can you imagine what kind of life our kids are living? Because it's global now. It's not like it's Pakistan or America or Australia or UK. It's everywhere. Okay, up line is gone because of this, the screen that we have in our hands. And anxiety is when the future, they have anything which is bothering them about future. What if this happens? What if I'm not able to do this? Mothers ko bhi hoti hai na, rishta na hua to kya hoga, ghar na banna to kya hua, job yahan na rahi to kya hoga. Anxiety shuru ho jati hai. So anxiety, kids have anxiety. And the mental health experts that especially I work with, they stress on lifestyle change. They say the first thing that you need to practice at home is 4 important parameters. Number 1, your physical health. No matter what the issue is, physical health. And I think in USA, you have so many opportunities to work on your physical health. In Pakistan, it's a bigger challenge. वहाँ पे वॉक करने के लिए इस्लामाबाद में तो पार्क्स हैं या बिगर सिटीज में हैं, छोटी जगहों पे people sometimes don't have, but I tell them छोटी सी छत भी है ना, कंपाउंड भी है, तो उस पे वॉक करो. Complete your 7 to 10,000 steps per day if you can, or at least 7,000 steps. So physical health, walk. Achha, for youngsters, especially when they're glued to the screens and work and they're not walking, so whenever a kid would come to me with anxiety or depression, I'll tell them, every 1 hour that you're up, walk for 3 minutes. That's the best you can do. Walk for 3 minutes. Why? This is going to detox all the negative hormones, neurotransmitters, and chemicals in your body. It is going to flush them out. 3 minutes ke liye walk kar lein. Maybe from one room to another room, upar se niche, grab yourself a glass of water, whatsoever, do that. That's going to settle. And when I take sessions in Pakistan and the kids come to me and they're like, oh, I feel fine. I'm like, I haven't even worked on your mental health yet, but you feel better. They're like, yes, I feel better. Just because I started walking. Second, drink water. Again, yahan pe to maine dekha, at least in my family over here, everyone is drinking water. But a lot of time people don't drink water, and the kids, they're into fizzy drinks and junk eating. Pani peene ki aadat dale. Again, every 1 hour that you're up, try to drink some water. और मैं बच्चों को ऐसे समझाती हूँ, when they resist this thing, why do I have to drink water? I mean, like, give me some solution for my depression or anxiety. I had to ask them, if I give you a flower pot, और वो जो flower pot है, उसको आपने उसमें आपने plant लगा हुआ है, and you do not water the plant for 5 days, what will happen? Or 6 days, what will happen? 5 दिन आप plant को नहीं flower वो करते, water नहीं करते, क्या हो जाएगा? खत्म हो जाएगा. It will start withering. So similarly, we get emotional challenges more, mental health challenges more when we don't drink enough water. I mean, can you imagine, for such grave challenges like anxiety and depression, the solutions are so simple. They're so simple solutions. All we have to do is keep drinking water. Next important thing that we do is we eat healthy. जितना healthy खाना आप खाते हैं, उतना ज़्यादा आपके mental health के challenges कम आते हैं. Salads, okay, I recently did a course जिसमें उन्होंने कहा था कि आपकी brain health बेहतर होती है जैसे आप healthy food खाते हैं, अपने आप को processed food से कम रखते हैं. तो we need to kick out the processed food from our kitchens. When we go grocery shopping, we have to remind ourselves we are not doing favors to our kids by getting them crackers and fizzy drinks and juices in the name of juices and whatnot. इससे हमारे बच्चों की mental health तबाह हो रही है. ठीक? और यहाँ पे आप देखें, over here you have options for both. In Pakistan, we still have to struggle. I mean, every day I'm clicking a picture of all the berries and sending it to my kids. And they're like, oh, Mama, you're enjoying all those berries. I'm like, yes. These are the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. समझ रहे हैं आप? तो इन चीजों की वो मजा जो है वो उसको लें कि ये मेंटल, यानी घर में कोई आपको लगता है ना कि किसी को डिप्रेशन, मुझे जब लगता है, if I feel like I'm feeling a little low today, I sit down, I'm like, wait a minute, I have like all the checklist on my physical parameters. आज पानी नहीं पिया, चलो जी पानी ले आओ, so that I feel better, rather than me sitting and saying, why am I feeling so low? Is this my husband? My mother-in-law, or my daughter-in-law, or my eldest kid, or my rebellious kid, or my boss or someone. No, it's me. I'm not taking good care of myself. And then sleep. Healthy sleep. You sleep on time, stay away from screens at that moment before you're sleeping. And again, you rise up early. This is a universal phenomena for depression and anxiety. Physical parameters. दूसरा parameter हमारे पास आता है emotional. Work on your anger, work on your stress. आप में से कितने लोगों को बहुत ज्यादा गुस्सा आता है? हाथ खड़ा करें. Okay, कितने लोगों को स्ट्रेस बहुत ज्यादा फील होता है? हाथ खड़ा करें. और जिन लोगों ने हाथ खड़ा किया था उनमें से कितने लोगों के पास कोई बुक है on anger management and stress management? See? अच्छा, कितने लोगों के पास स्मार्टफोन है? We all have it. It's just one click away. We'll go around and telling life is so stressful. My kids drive me nuts. But we don't read about it. We don't want to improve ourselves. We want to stay in that victim mentality. कितना अच्छा लगता है ना? I'm the central focus character. I'm the one who's suffering. I can tell you 10 stories about my daughter-in-law, how badly she treats me. My mother-in-law, my husband, what a hard time he gives me. I mean, like we sometimes sit and we like, one lady would talk about her story, what my husband does to me. And they say, ye to kuch bhi nahi, main tumhe batati hu. Let me bring out my story. It's like a match thing. Who is going to be more successful with that victim story? So please, you have to come out of that. Healthy mindset. And then mentally, you have to be a positive person. There's some people who say, I cannot think positively. So I ask them what kind of people you hang out with. If you're hanging out with negative people, you will be negative. If you hang out with positive people, I run miles away from negative people. I have some people around me who would always be negative. Sorry, it's my phone. तो आपको negative लोगों से अपने आप को बचाना होगा, ठीक? And last thing, अच्छा फिर there are abuses. Mental health के बारे में हो गया. फिर spiritual health, 4 parameters: the physical health, mental health, emotional health, and then the spiritual health. ये अगर आपने book पढ़ी हो, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, this is the 7th habit in that. So they talk about, it's not like my made up things, they talk about synergy and then sharpening the saw, and they say the 7th habit is you work on your spirituality. अगर हम नमाज नहीं पढ़ रहे ना, if you're not praying to Allah, I don't think so you can have that peace. There is something which will keep hitting you. आपको तंग करती रहेगी. When I deal with youngsters, I ask them, do you pray when they come up with their challenges? And a lot of youngsters will say, no, I don't. I mean, I would one day when I'm convinced about it, or I'm really into it. And I'm like, like you don't go to college, university, you don't perform your exam because you're convinced about it. I mean, आपको immigration के लिए paper देते हैं, let me see if I'm convinced about it or not. You just say, let me do it, and then I'll see. You move to an area, you make a house. You don't say, for like 10 years, I'll keep going to that area, walking down that lane, thinking if I'm convinced about it, then I'll move there, then I'll make a house there. You say, We'll make a house over there. If it doesn't work out, then we'll see. So namaz bhi ye nahi hai ki if I'm convinced about it. If I say I'm a Muslim, I have to pray. Simple. There is no second thought about it. You can move from one school of thought to another school of thought. नमाज पढ़ने पे किसी का इख्तिलाफ नहीं. हाँ, किस तरह पढ़नी है उसमें चेंजेस हैं, उसमें वेरिएशंस है, बट नमाज पढ़ने पे कोई नहीं. So spirituality, नमाज पढ़ना, कुरान पढ़ना, दुआएं पढ़ना, like these are important elements in our life and they should be there. Okay? These are like compulsory things, so they uplift us. Our kids are not uplifted because they don't pray. They don't pray. Or this is a big challenge for the mothers. Okay, so then we have a lot of abuses, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse by parents, because sometimes parents are not in a healthy frame of mind. They have their own challenges and they don't know कि वो बच्चों के साथ कैसे करें. और एक और जो challenge है, it is there in Pakistan as well. I have been to UAE, I have seen it there as well. And since I'm here in USA and I'm talking to different people, I see it over here as well. That is a Muslim identity crisis. I often talk about it in Pakistan too, when especially I'm talking to youth. एक तो identity crisis है ना, when you're young, you don't know where do you fit in. But एक Muslim identity crisis है. How do you define a believer? What are the parameters for that believer? Everyone has set up their own standard of it. It's very interesting. You go around and you talk about it. Someone is talking about so-and-so to be conservative. Someone is talking about me being enlightened. Someone is talking about, I'm like this and I'm like that. The standard benchmark is what is there in Quran and Sunnah. And then people say, well, people have made different interpretations of that. But when you actually study Quran, the basics stay the same. You'll find those basics there. Actually, hamari problem is, especially from the subcontinent, we don't study the word-to-word translation of Quran. We don't understand Quran. We don't, like what I've done as a professional and scientific person is, when I studied a verse of Quran, I always looked into the life of the Prophet ﷺ. How was it practiced? Even when it came to hijab, it was not like because Al-Huda or Dr. Farhad Hashmi taught me so. I read the verse, I looked at the Arabic thing of it, then I looked at the women. What were they practicing at that time? And I saw their practices. What kind of dress they wore. That was not a traditional dress. We have just picked up one sentence. No, that was their tradition. No. How they modified their tradition, how they came towards Islam. For namaz as well. So you can do your research and you can find out. It's like Sirah is very well documented. Hadiths are very well documented that you can read them and you can find out. So Muslim identity pe kaam karna hoga hame apne bachon ki na. We need to give them a good identity as a believer, a sure identity where they are. And then we need to love them in such a manner that we give them a strong boundary. We know as parents where to say no, but also respect them, respect their decisions, and give them some breathing space. So mera to aapko ye message, I wanted to say more time so that if you have any questions or something you want to discuss, so we can take up that.
For the audience online, you can type your question in the chat.
Yeah, my question is, how much are we supposed to push kids? Like my daughter, she's 12. I know that at the kids, they are rebellious. And how much should we, like, if I tell her to pray namaz, she says, okay, I'll pray. I don't know if she prays or not. She does not pray in front of me. So how much are we supposed to push the kids for praying namaz or reading Quran for Islamic things?
Okay, I'll ask you a question from a different angle. How much would you push your kid to go to school? If the kid says, I don't want to go to school.
Yeah, but
how many days would you wait for your kid not to go to school?
Yeah,
don't say but just tell me for school.
Yeah, I would believe her, like if she's saying that she's not feeling well, she doesn't want to go to school, I would believe her. But
but are you going to send her to school or just take her off the school?
I will send her to school.
You will send her to school.
Yeah,
okay.
But like
now let me. I have further questions to ask you. Okay, what will you do if like your kid has an exam Like in Pakistan, we have exam and there's a certain section which has a compulsory question. And then there are a couple of questions which are optional. So if your kid says, I'm not going to do the compulsory question, but I'll work on the optional, what would you tell your daughter or son?
You have to do the compulsory.
Have to do the compulsory. Did you get the answer?
Actually.
Okay. Now, let me answer your jo aapki anxiety ya pareshani hai. But kids don't listen. How I see is, because when I look at the worldly things, we're so sure if my kid has to apply for an application, I make sure they apply it. If the kid has to do something worldly, I make sure they do it. The only thing we compromise on is religion. Okay. Now, first of all, you need to have, as a parent, clarity that this is compulsory. Okay. Secondly, now the challenge is, because when it comes to worldly education, since everyone is doing it, everyone is encouraging their kids. So the kids are by large ready for it. And let's say if you're sitting over here as a mother and you tell everyone, my girl didn't want to go to school and I made her go there. I gave her 1 day off, but then everyone will be like, bravo, you're a good mom. You're a conscious mom. You're taking care of your daughter. But if you tell them, my daughter was not praying and I gave her a consequence. I didn't hit her. I was not abusive, but I was a little strict on her. They'll be like, oh my God, you're hijabi and you're a criminal. And you know what? I can tell you all the stories. There is this woman who was very strict on her kids, and her kids, when they got the opportunity, they did something which was not right. Well, the kids do everything. They would use all the opportunity to do things wrong. Okay. So one thing, what we need to do is support the mothers when they want to help their kids learn something which is compulsory. And then we need to understand the kids' temperament. There are going to be kids in your house who would immediately do it. They're going to be kids where you can talk to them and you can keep talking to them. Okay. Like right now, I'm also having challenge with 2 of my girls in these areas. Sometimes I see them praying, sometimes I don't see them praying, but I do the same thing. I always remind them, namaz, maghrib namaz, isha namaz. Okay? So now these days I'm traveling and I'm like, Allah Ta'ala, I'm in safar, I'm in traveling. Please make sure my girls pray, soften their heart towards praying. Okay? But I'm not going to be abusive, but I will not give up.
Just keep reminding them.
I'll keep reminding them. I'll keep giving them all the opportunities. I'll take them to all those places. I'll help them connect to Quran. I'm not giving up anytime. Till my last breath, I'll keep telling them the same thing. Like sometimes mothers ask me, till what age should we tell our kids? I say, till you're a parent. Parenting never retires. You never retire as a parent. I'm 60 years, so I'm no longer a parent. You're still a parent. Okay? So, हर वक्त कहें, प्यार से कहें. मैं तो गले लगा के बच्चा मुंह बना रहा है, बच्चा I'm like, नमाज पढ़ लो, प्यार, hugging. Use right, smart ways of getting to your kids. Because the problem is the environment. They put pressure on you that you need to let your kids take that decision. When they're young, they cannot decide for themselves, especially there's so much peer pressure. So much pressure on the kids. For namaz, for hijab, even for boys to have a beard. But if we keep providing them those opportunities, like I tell my girls, yes, when you're going to all girls party, dress up and go and do whatever you want to. But when you're in a public place, I want you properly covered. And when they look into my eyes and say, what if we don't do it once we are on our own? I say, that's between you and Allah then. But till you're in my house, I would want you to do it. I feel really good about it. It's not like you have to do it till you are here. And if you don't do it, you are astaghfirullah, very bad believer or something like that. Or you'll burn in hellfire. You use the right words. I'm like, it gives me so much pleasure when you do it. You listen, and then sometimes kids say, oh, I'm not doing it for you then. My intention is not for Allah. I'm doing it only for you. So I'm like, that's okay. If you're listening to parents, you'll still get the reward of it. Okay? So we need to give them those opportunities. We need to not take that pressure from the people. Then be with those people who will support you in doing all those things. And then keep telling them, because I remember my mother always told me about praying. And when I was young, I hardly prayed. I was like that seasonal believer who would pray in Ramadan only, and sometimes when I had to. But that had an impact on me because I was constantly being drilled about this message. We should pray, we should dress up modest, we should not be mingling with the boys, we should not be doing this thing, we should not be out of the house for a longer period of time. And I'm so thankful to my parents for giving me this. This added on when I came towards Quran. So our kids need it more than they need this worldly education. They need these reminders constantly, but in a beautiful manner. Like you watch the ads. What do the ads do to you? Like you watch a detergent ad. They say, oh, we have a nice detergent, please buy it. And after 2 months, they say, have you bought this? And then after 2 months, they say, are you buying it or not? They don't do that. The detergent ad is always same playful style. For years and years, we keep watching, hey, we have a detergent and you wash your clothes with it. So similarly, we need to advertise Islam in a very beautiful manner. I use same tone, same style, same smile, even when my heart is burning or crying and I'm feeling such a rage inside. I have beautiful smile on my face. I'm like, Maghrib time and Fajr time. And if they pray, fine. If they just give me this feeling, yeah, we are getting up and praying. And I'll come after 10 minutes. I'm like, namaz padh li? Nahi. Chalo namaz padh lo, fir uske baad ye karenge. You know, because mothers, they immediately get bugged. And they start with this provoking. So we should not do that. Don't provoke the kids, but don't give up on the compulsory things, as we don't give up on compulsory things from the worldly perspective. Tell them that this is compulsory, so I'm answerable to Allah, so I have to keep telling you. As a mother, this is my responsibility. Okay? Anything else, T?
So you're saying that first step for compulsory things, not like earlier you mentioned that you shouldn't be like, why did you sit here? Why are you still in your pajamas? And so don't keep doing that, but compulsory things.
You have to, as I said, you have to pick your battles wisely. Okay, like if my kid, for example, if I look at my kids, let's say they are wearing their hair in a certain manner, or my girl comes up and says, oh, I want to have a string of my hair in green color. I hate that green color. Okay, or she comes up and says, I want to wear a certain ring or wear a certain brand, or I want to eat food sometimes just being in my bed. I mean, not always, but being in my bed. I might give them liberty on these areas. But if she comes up to me and says, can I miss my prayer? I'll say, no, beta, that you have to. Okay. Or if she'll come up to me and say, can I have, I mean, she's not saying it, but if she says can I have a tattoo here or there? I'll say no. No. But because for 10 things, I said yes, yes, yes. So for 11th thing, when I say no, they'll be more receptive to listen to it. But if I'm going, no, close the door, sit here, do this, don't do that, why are you eating like this? Then they're going to get so bugged, they won't listen to the important things. So they take the impact of whatever you're talking about when they see that you are saying no on something important. That's it. That's what you have to focus on. Because sometimes, I mean, for me, ironing the clothes is so therapeutic. So I have to iron each and every corner. And my girls, when they'll get up, because sorry, I'm giving examples of my girls all the time, but I mean, because they are in that age now. So when they'll iron, तो वो क्या करेगी जो नजर आ रहा है ना सिर्फ वो iron हो रहा है. The rest of that is going to be tucked in, and it's irritating me to core. But I'm not going to pick on them. It's their choice. It's not important. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting on their head and saying, "Pure ko istri karo, pura breakfast khatam karo, pura ye karo," because then they are not going to listen to when I tell them to pray, when I tell them to say salam to someone in the family. So they listen, and I do the same for the guests. I've always done that. like whoever the guest comes in, I never tell my, especially teenagers, sub line mein aao, sab salam karo. I don't do that. I go selective. I tell them, for example, Fazia Hala is coming. So when their favorite Hala would be there, so they would want to be ready for her, sitting there, waiting, and like even serving and chit-chatting. And then there will be some formal guest. And I'll say, they might want to meet you. So they'll just come, say salam, leave. And they sometimes would ask me, okay, if your guest is all females and we are in our pajamas, can we just come and say salam and go away? And I'll say like, yeah, fine. You don't have to dress up. So guest bichara parishan ho jata hai ki inke bacche kaise hain. But like then my kids know that there are variety of options to choose from. It's not like, and sometimes there are guests, they want to see or meet my kids, but my kids don't want to meet them. So I don't invite them. I don't invite my kids to come over and meet them and say salam. तो आप अपनी वो चीजों को पिक करें सही तरह से, उससे आपके बच्चों के अंदर क्लैरिटी आएगी on what to practice, and then they'll see that that the parent is not very rigid. They will call you rigid because you are not going to according to their desires and everything. They want things, all the things to be done their way. Like at least they will understand that they have space. और कुछ पूछना है?
मुझे कहना था कि मेरे घर में एक डिफरेंट डिजाइना है. मेरे दो बड़े बेटे हैं, बेटी है, तो उन्होंने बच्चों ने मेरा नाम रखा है मौलाना मामा. So as you're saying, on the faraids, I don't compromise. ये करना है तो करना है. But then the rest of the things, I will give them some liberty. My daughter, she wanted some pink strands in her hair. I said, ठीक है, जाके करा लो, वो कर लो. But it's hard being a parent because it doesn't come with a manual.
No, it doesn't.
And every child is different. So, and I feel the kind of company that we keep as parents, I think that's also important living in the society.
Definitely.
Because it sends them different messages.
Yeah. That is important. उसमें ये बात याद रखिएगा कि parenting is not about popularity vote. Parenting जो है ना, उसमें आपके मतलब मेरे बच्चे मुझसे कभी खुश नहीं हैं, despite the fact that I'm going by the book. They pick on me as well on different areas. Oh, अम्मा की या तो psychology शुरू हो जाएगी या अम्मा का कोई religious perspective शुरू हो जाएगा. But I mean, this is a story of every household. As a parent, हमने भी शायद अपने parents को ये कहा कि अब फल्ला अम्मा फिर शुरू हो गई हैं, again the same lecture. But that's how parents are. So time will come when they'll be out of those turbulent waters and they would see the beauty of what you have done to them. So just laugh it off. अगर आपको वो मौलाना कहते हैं ना, तो गुस्सा नहीं हो, offend नहीं हो, just laugh it off. ठीक है? तो आप उनके साथ joke around भी कर सकते हैं और इस तरह की बात करें. और definitely we have to understand kids जो उनके temperaments हैं. एक चीज जो मैं हमेशा mothers को कहती हूँ कि अपनी self care बहुत करें. ठीक है? और उसमें भी फिर वही dynamics हैं, अपनी नींद पूरी करें, eat healthy. I have seen mothers who don't invest in their health. Or they're always like, after बच्चा नहीं कुछ खा रहा तो माँ नहीं खा रही. Eat well, be healthy, because you have lot of fronts open and you are like struggling with multiple personalities and grooming of multiple kids and their multiple challenges. और माशाल्लाह कुछ की बहुएं हैं, कुछ की आने वाली भी होंगी, तो like the daughter-in-law and mother-in-law relationship, उसको भी healthy रखना है. Because I have granddaughters too, so I can tell you, like, despite the fact that I'm very busy, but you don't have that much stamina to hold the babies all the time. तो फिर कई mother-in-laws, then they try कि भी हम बच्चे को पालें भी and we take care of everything. Or mother-in-laws are like, इसने socks क्यों नहीं पहनी हुई? So this happens in my house as well. Sometimes I have relatives who are like, your granddaughter is not wearing socks or right shoes or right dress, and I'm like, this is not my responsibility. This is a responsibility of the mother. If mother and father are okay, why should I bother? And they're like, nee. You as an elder in the family should interfere, should tell them, should teach them through experience. If they want to learn, they will learn. So I'd rather enjoy my grandkids the way they are and leave everything to the parents. I'm a pediatrician, but I don't tell my daughter-in-law ke isko ye khilao. I have so many kids walking in my clinic asking me what should be the weaning food. But I've never told my daughter-in-laws unless they ask themselves. मैंने नहीं उनको कभी बताया. हाँ, वो मुझे जब कहती है आंटी इसको कुछ खिलाना है, मैं कहती हूँ okay, give me whatever you want me to feed them, I'll feed them. Or if you want me to cook something, I'll cook for them. But give me the whole plan. Which, and that's how then they get comfortable. तो बच्चों को और बाकियों को comfortable करने के लिए आपको healthy होना पड़ेगा. Healthy in your body, healthy in your mind, healthy in your thought process, and like being positive and trying to understand other people as they are rather than molding them all the time. क्योंकि हम बच्चों को हर वक्त mold कर रहे हैं ना. So ultimately we become so rigid and exhausted in our head that when we have them married, we are again trying to mold them our ways. And that becomes very exhausting. जी, I'm done. अगर कोई, I think यहाँ मैं देख आपका कोई chat पे.
Is there any more questions? We'll wind up in 2 minutes.
No question? You're
Do you
good
have
moms.
any lectures for young kids also, like for teenagers?
Yes, I do have, but I don't know कि मेरी अंग्रेजी इतनी American नहीं है. So sometimes the kids who are used to a certain accent, then they're more comfortable with that. नहीं, they can understand. Understanding का मसला नहीं होता है. But उनको मसला कई दफा होता है कि they like the American accent or they like the British accent. So that's the only thing. I have a full channel by the name of हमारे बच्चे. And if you write, that's a YouTube channel, you can subscribe for it, or you can listen to all the talks. They're over there. They're related to very diverse kind of topics because they're in English, they're in Urdu. Most of them are in Urdu because मेरी ज़्यादा audience Urdu होती है. But when I go to colleges and universities या ऐसे कई setups होते हैं, उस पे भी होता है मेरा. TV channels का भी मेरा है. अगर आपके पास जियो का रमज़ान transmission, you have to subscribe for that. So अगर वो होता है तो रमज़ान में मेरे programs होते हैं पूरा everyday channel.
For the kids, like for the
No, this is for the mothers and the parents and adults as such. Because उस पे तो I do a variety of topics. लेकिन ये कि उसके अलावा जो होता है बच्चों के लिए भी है मेरे youth का पूरा playlist है उसमें you can find. In fact, our kids के लिए भी we are doing Sira. One of my team member is preparing very nice that these audios are in English. और आजकल मैं upload कर रही हूँ Sira पे हैं. Sira for children. अगर आप लिखेंगे Aisha Rahman, तो you will get them. So they're really nice clips that she started preparing. So उसको I encourage her, or I'm putting up those clips as well.
Excuse me, Dr. Saiba, there's some questions online.
Yeah, sure.
So first question is how to respond to kids when they constantly want attention by asking questions.
Okay. What is the age of the kid?
Let me unmute the...
How to respond to kids when they are constantly
Sister Naslin, you are allowed to talk. You can
yeah, Assalamu alaikum. Like my daughter is 9 years old and my son is 4 years old. So like, both behave the same. They ask us like questions and very repetitive questions. And sometimes I feel that, they are irritating me. So.
Okay. Basically, they need to be satisfied with the question that you're asking them. What you need to do is you can give them like, some time frame. I mean, there are different options that you can use. You can give them a certain time that, okay, let's sit down and let's talk about different things. And you can ask me a question. Like sometimes we do back home is that we tell kids to give them a sticky notes or something and tell them to put up their question somewhere. The 4-year-old definitely won't be able to do that. The 7-year-old might be able to write the question. Then you can refer them to encyclopedias. Like, they have a question, you can say, it's a very interesting question. Why don't you look up the answer and come to me and I'll see if it is right or not. Secondly, when you're talking to kids and they're asking you questions, then you see if you're free. If you're free, then you sit down with them, have an eye contact and answer their question. I mean, they need your attention. They need that right posture when you're talking to them. Or agar ye hai ki, let's say कि you don't have time, so you can again tell them that this is a very good question, but I'm busy right now. Maybe I'll be able to answer you in 1 hour or next day. And then you make sure you give them the answers. Now, if you're doing all these things and they're still like coming back to you the same question, that means you are busy in something else and they need your more time. So please give away some of your activities and focus more on the kids. Give them some solid time so that, they feel satisfied. That's all you have to do. There was a hand. Kahin piche se tha
I
kuch?
have a question. You mentioned at the beginning that there are summer camps and things like that you're involved with. And are there any, to your knowledge, in this local area?
Not over here. My only contacts over here is right now you people. And I'm blessed to be able to getting this opportunity over here because I was traveling on my private trip and I was actually wanting to do something here, meet some mothers and, you know, like share some experiences with them. But we can definitely do it if you have a setup like this. I can always share the curriculum for the summer and you people can run the course and I can train the staff online as well. Nowadays, Zoom is like there. So you can pick up some volunteers, I can train them. And but so far, most of my curriculum is written in Urdu. So you need to have some ladies who can read Urdu and then they can produce it in English. That shouldn't be much of a problem as such. But I can share all the ideas and you can run it because a lot of people, they do that. Like I have some classes in UK and some other places. Even I have people traveling all over and I mean, they take training online and then they run their classes.
Excuse me, doctor. Could you tell the audience your channel information? Aapki channel information मांग रहे हैं.
The channel information here, the name is Hamare Bachche, HAMARAY, Hamare, BA.
Hamare Bachche.
Or Bachche.
Okay.
Or you just simply write my name, Dr. Kanwal Kaisser. The Kaisser is KAISSER. So if you write it on the YouTube, you will get all the videos and then you can get the channel information over there as well. Okay, ji. So we're done with the time. Jazakallah khairin. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.